Hi, my name is Noelle, and I had a near-death experience in April of 2021. Just for a little backstory, I had a very complicated pregnancy. I had preeclampsia, and I had gestational diabetes and a ton of other health things going on, which led me to give birth prematurely. I had an emergency induction due to severe high blood pressures and just a ton of medical things going on. It just was not safe for me to be pregnant anymore. So during the birth, I was pushing, and this is kind of when the near-death experience starts. So while I was pushing, I saw this woman, and mind you, the whole room was full of people. It had the NICU team, it had the doctors, it had everybody there. But there was this one woman that came in the room. She had the most blue, fierce eyes I had ever seen. Kind of almost like very Irish descent, but her eyes were so stunningly blue. And she came into the room and she just looked different from everyone else. And she came up to me and she said, "You need to push harder. His heart rate is dropping." And in that moment, her voice was so stern, but it also was very distinct and fierce, like, "You have to do this." And I said, I'm trying, because I was pushing as hard as I could during birth, and he wasn't coming out, and I was dying. Moral of the story, I was dying. And when you're dying, it's the most exhausting thing. And unfortunately, when we die, we're all going to have to do it, because Earth is not a temporary place. So when that woman told me to keep pushing, his heart rate was dropping, it's almost like I had a telepathic understanding that I was going to die. My body physically could not handle the pregnancy any further. It could not handle me pushing any further. My blood pressures were like off the roof, and it just was time. And we had this kind of telepathic understanding. Like, she looked at me and I looked at her, and we knew that it was my time. And I just kind of looked at her just for clarity, like, because I didn't even have the words to come out because I was so distraught and just in so much pain and so exhausted from pushing and everything. And she just like nodded, like, yes. She gave me that confirmation. So I pushed as hard as I could, and immediately I shot up. And I know a lot of people in their near-death experiences, they say like they saw their body and, you know, how they looked down. That was not my experience. I immediately shot up, and it was kind of like a galaxy type tunnel. So it's almost kind of like someone took like a portal and you just kind of like entered into the portal. And after the near-death experience, looking at a lot of pictures, the James Webb Telescope actually really reflected a lot of my experience. A lot of those images are very identical to what I saw. If you look up like portal, galaxy, James Webb Telescope, a lot of that is very accurate. But immediately shooting up and like going into the portal, I just felt this peace. I felt the most indescribable, amazing peace I had ever experienced. It's something that you cannot experience on Earth. It is just magnificent the way you're so peaceful. There were shades of blue, there were shades of purple and pink, and it just was so gorgeous. There was stars moving, and it was basically just like a galaxy. Like, if you look at any cosmic galaxy, those images that you see is really what I saw. But there was lots of shades of blue and purple and pink, which actually are all my favorite colors, and it felt unique to my experience, which made it even more wholesome. Like, it just felt like the best homecoming ever. It just felt like the best homecoming ever. As I'm moving through the portal, I look to my right, and there's the most beautiful meadow, the most gorgeous meadow. There are colors there that do not exist on planet Earth. The colors there are so saturated and contrasted. If you were to see them on Earth, it would almost be blinding. Kind of like when you look at the sun, you're like, oof, like that hurts your eyes. But when you see it over there, it's inviting, it's enticing, and you want to like go in it and experience it. And it's just like this whole other world, which it is. But it's just so magnificent the way the colors were over there. I mean, I just will never be able to earthly describe. So that meadow to my right was floating in right of space. As I move to my left, I see 7 trumpets. And mind you, everything is still a galaxy. The 7 trumpets were all lined up. and they all were playing the most angelic, beautiful music I had ever heard, ever. The music was undeniable with how gorgeous it was. There was no kind of music there that existed on planet Earth. It was just magnificent, and unfortunately I can't describe what it sounded like just because it's unlike anything you've heard on Earth. As I'm moving forward, there's the most magnificent bright white light, and it was in the shape of Jesus. And it just was the most enticing, magnificent light I had ever seen. But it was so cool because you could kind of see Jesus' face through the light. And he really was like every race combined into one. He just was the most magnificent, beautiful being I had ever seen in my entire life. And what is so cool is I could kind of see his face, but he really was honestly trying to like hide his presence in a way. Like he really wanted to show me that light and how beautiful he was. And like I said, the best way I could describe it is when you look at the sun on Earth or like something super bright, like if someone sticks like a flashlight in your face, you're like, oof, like that hurts. But on the other side, it's the opposite. It's like you love it. Like you want to experience it. You want to like feel those vibrations in a way. It's a really, really cool experience. And I'm moving forward and everything's moving so fast. The clouds are moving fast, the stars are moving fast, and I'm coming closer to Jesus with his arms out like this. And he just said, "It is not time." And as he sent me back, it's like someone hit a button. Everything stopped, and it's like he shot me back in a slingshot. And I woke up, and I was laying in the hospital bed, and I was just kind of like confused, like what just happened. And then I realized that my son was born. I had so much adrenaline. I had so many emotions going on at once. I couldn't believe the amount of just confusion and anxiety and just like every emotion was going through me at once when I came back. And I was kind of like, I wanted to stay, you know, like I was almost like upset, like I wanted to stay, but he made that decision for me because he knew I had a bigger purpose and he knew I needed to be here. As I woke up, also coming out of being from a near-death experience, I was looking for that woman. I was looking for her all over the room. I was like, where did the lady go? Where did the lady go? Because I wanted to ask her, like, what happened. There was just something about her that was so beautiful and enticing, but familiar at the same time. And to this day, I don't know exactly who she is. I think maybe she's like a guardian angel of some sort. But I really wanted to ask her, and everybody was looking around like, who are you talking about? Like everybody's like, who's this lady that she keeps talking about? But unfortunately, I didn't find that woman, but I woke up to the biggest blessing, which was that my son was born and that he was healthy and that everything was okay there for the most part. He was transferred to the NICU, and in that moment, I was kind of able to just recover and just kind of reflect on my experience. And I was remembering things, and I was remembering how, you know, I kind of telepathically thought that I wanted to stay there. And it's almost like Jesus in a way heard what I was saying, because when you go there, there's no like conversation like how you and me are talking. It's all thoughts, it's all telepathy. And he knew what I was thinking about. He knew I wanted to stay, but he also knew that I needed to come back. And he made the decision for me, and I'm so grateful he did, because I have a wonderful life. I'm so beyond blessed to be here. And it's a privilege to be on Earth. It's a privilege to grow old, and it's a privilege to experience what we have here, even though it might not always feel like it, you know, all the time. It's a beautiful experience. And Earth is just a big classroom. And we're here to learn. And when you go there, you will get downloads upon downloads of information. And it may not always make sense, but it will make sense in the end. I can't remember what exactly those downloads were, but I do remember I learned a lot, and everything that I learned, I understood. All in all, you have a purpose. Your life is so precious and so valuable, and there are people watching over you. Even if you feel alone, even if you feel like you're going through something that's the most detrimental part of your life right now in this phase, just know that you're not alone, and that there are people here to support you, but there's also people on the other side rooting for you and supporting you and wanting the best for you. I'd like to thank you so much for listening to my story. Thank you for engaging with the Other Side Media and everything that has brought you here today. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned how valuable life is and how beautiful it is on the other side. If you would like to connect with me, I have my social media linked below. But thank you very much for listening, and God bless you, and see you on the other side if I don't see you here.